Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the Spitfire Mark Vb sitting at 3.7 battle rating in the British line. One of two new British Spitfires, and there's also a new premium Italian Spitfire. You could call this patch the Spitfire patch. There's also been changes to much of the Spitfire's flight models and performance, and overheating is now a problem for the Spitfires, which really messes with their climb rate and thus their domination, which is good in a sense but frustrating for Spitfire pilots, I'd say. Let's take a look at this Spitfire and see how it performs in patch 1.77. The maximum speed in this new Spitfire at sea level is 463 kilometers an hour without WEP and 512 kilometers an hour with WEP. At 4,500 meters, this plane goes 442 kilometers an hour without WEP and 469 kilometers an hour with WEP. Go up to 6,500 meters and this plane will get you up to 390 kilometers an hour without WEP and 410 kilometers an hour with WEP. Good WEP on this plane makes a lot of difference, and you have to be careful using it though, because of the overheating that is now in the Spitfires. The Spitfires do overheat really hard when you use WEP on these planes with automatic engine control. I don't know how this is with manual engine control. I assume it's a little less worse, but the overheating in the Spitfires is now severe, and because the WEP is so strong, this is a problem for this plane's climb rate, which has become a lot less because you cannot abuse WEP a lot, let's say. Top speed in a dive on this plane, 723 kilometers an hour before it redlines and 790 kilometers an hour before it rips apart. That is not the effective dive speed though, because control stiffening starts to happen already at 500 kilometers an hour and becomes severe between 600 and 650 kilometers an hour. It is already very difficult to steer the plane towards a nice lead on your enemy that you're following, and definitely ends the effective dive speed around 650. The elevator does stay functioning up until about 730 kilometers an hour, which is quite nice, so you can pull out of those dives without much problem, but you do want to be careful with the roll rate and don't want to be faced upside down when you have to pull out of a dive at the last moment before hitting the floor. So be careful of the ground and in long dives. This plane is not very well suited for long dives, by the way, in that sense. The stall speed in the plane lies around 140-150 kilometers an hour, which is alright, I'd say, combined with decent vertical energy retention and good climb rate. The plane functions pretty well in the vertical. Firepower in the plane is good. The plane runs with 2x 20mm Hispano Mark II cannons with 60 rounds per gun and 4x 7.7 Browning machine guns with 350 rounds per gun. I used ground targets for the Hispanos and stealth for the machine guns, 600 meter conversions, and as you may or may not know, the Hispanos do spark a lot at the moment. They are not quite as effective as they have been, and this really limits the firepower of this plane, which already has limited ammo on the two Hispanos that this plane has, with a minimum load of only 60 rounds per gun. So I would not call the ammo load very good. It's below average, especially on the cannons. The machine gun ammo is nice, but yeah, the cannons pack the punch, and machine guns can still kill a plane, that's true, and you hold a lot of that, but below average ammo load, I would say. Acceleration in a straight line is good, and in a dive this plane has very good acceleration. The energy retention in the horizontal is decent, and in the vertical as well, decent energy retention on this Spitfire. Climb rate in the plane is good, and I would have called it very good before this overheated starting to show. But in this patch the Spitfires do have more overheating. I wonder if you guys noticed the same. but I would still call the climb rate of this plane good, although you cannot abuse the web anymore, so the climb rate of the plane does not stay as dominant as it used to be. And you see a lot of BF-109s up high there, which are really more competitive with the climb rate on this Spitfire now. Turn time in the plane is excellent, and the flaps make it even better, but the flaps can already rip off at 280 kilometers an hour. Now the performance of this Spitfire is very good at low speeds. It doesn't become sluggish at all, it really performs very well at low speeds. So you can use the flaps, but at 280 they can already rip off. That is a very low speed for the flaps, and this is a problem on most of the Spitfires, and this one is no exception. So be careful with those flaps. Basically you almost never use them. The roll rate in this plane is average to decent depending on which speed you're at, and but it never becomes better than decent. Most of the time it's average. Maneuverability overall in this plane is very good because of the fantastic turn time. Now overheating in this plane, like I said, it's terrible, very bad, however you want to call it. It really overheats very quickly, especially the oil, and it is difficult to cool down as well. You got to go below 100 to cool it down in any reasonable amount of time. So yeah, I don't know why the Spitfire suddenly gave that. Maybe that's the measure that Gaijin used to nerf the Spitfires a little bit. It's well, I guess it's a way to do it. Terrible overheating on this Spitfire. Durability in the plane, it can take a hit or two. It's not a Thunderbolt, of course, but it's also not very fragile. The plane can take a hit or two and get home with that. I would fly this plane as an energy fighter that can also turn and function from there. The plane can boom and zoom a little bit, in the sense that it can make short boom and zoom runs, but overall boom and zoom roll is not for this plane, I would say. Energy fighting roll and the turn fighting that comes with this plane are very suitable to the plane, and you can really outmaneuver most of the opposition, except when you face a Spitfire or some such that you know can outturn you. But for the rest, this plane can dogfight with impunity, and you can have a lot of fun in this plane, to be honest. Fully spaded, this plane really is a monster in that department. So overall I really quite enjoy the Spitfire Mark Vb. I had very good results in the plane, even though the opposition of this plane at 3.7 is very stiff with the Hitler bolts and all that jazz. I still ran 16 kills and only 3 dead, so that was pretty good. Now let's see what kind of rewards we got for that performance. We've got Final Blow, Terror of the Sky and Bulletproof, 47,000 Silver Lions and 3,700 research points. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now, wonderful plane to look at, this Spitfire, the Spitfire Mark Vb. Fantastic plane, except for the overheating. It is not very nice, and it really limits this plane. And it's not just this plane, as far as I've heard. From what I've heard is that at least all the early Spitfires have problems with overheating now, and really gotten a little bit of a nerf that way. Now, as the web on these planes is really strong often, if you can't use the web a lot in the climb, your climb really gets limited. And that is true for this Spitfire as well, because you can't abuse web in the climb. This plane, you know, stays far away from its potential climb rate, and that really is unfortunate. You can still do a lot of shenanigans in this plane, but its dominating position from up high, and what the Spitfires usually have, it doesn't really have. At least that's my experience in the flyouts that I had. And thus you get more normal results, even though this plane is very good in the right hands, and you can still achieve very good kill death ratios in this plane. I did not get a monster match in my first matches, and that usually does happen in the Spitfires that I flew before this patch. You often get a 5 or a 6 kill match in the first 5 or 6 matches that I fly in a plane, and didn't work with this one. So that overheating really works to nerf the plane. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.